So now as we start to look at the attacking side of the ball in a 7v7 game format, where again for U9 and U10, the first thing that's going to be important is that our players have the ability to make a decision and execute the decision, right? So before anything matters about where players are going to go and how they're going to support and all that kind of stuff, the focus needs to be on when and how and where should I pass, dribble, shoot, move to support, right? Those are the most important things. You can want to have a style and you can focus on the formation and a system of where we're going to attack from and all that kind of stuff, but players have to be able to execute it, right? That's going to be the most important thing there. So in practices, we can set people up in shapes like you might use in a game, in the part of the field that you might use in a game, on a size grid that might make sense for the positions, but our coaching focus has to develop those skills, right? And that's what a skill is, being able to make and execute a decision within a game under some sort of time and space pressure. So the first scenario that we have here on the attacking side of the field is trying to play central to open up wide space. That's what we have here. So in this situation, the opposing team is allowing a pass to go central. You can see that from the part 1 arrow, right? Part 1 next to the arrow into the forward, right? So that's a pass to the solid line is. Where then the opposing team, after this is happening, right, is probably going to step up to the ball, maybe start to come in here, and then what you see is, right, this little gap between the defenders for the players to move into, right, and pass through. So we draw them in, and then we can play outside. So this, the player, the wide left midfielder, right, they can make this run over here and get onto the ball. That's the part 2 of this, right? So as that's happening, it's important to understand that other players are moving at the same time. So the other players moving at the same time, as the ball is being passed out to the wide player out left, the central midfielder, right, on this dotted arrow right here is already running, right? This wide right midfielder is now getting more narrow because they want to try and be able to get in on a pass that comes in here. Notice the angle of this run keeps the player on side, right? They're staying in front of the defender, and then when the pass is made across over here, now this player can time the run to try and get in on the outside. So just like a kind of like a concert going on with an orchestra, the violins and the horns and the strings and everybody is playing together at the same time. All of these have to be in concert with each other. And again, the idea here is to play quick and play feet and make the most dangerous decision that allows you to keep the ball. Right? That's the idea. Now, in the attacking half, once we get closer to the ball, now you can start to take some risks. Right? The player on the ball out here, the wide midfielder on the ball, he or she might have lots of options at this point. Right? They might be able to dribble in themselves. They might have a defender closer to them, so they have to take it to the end line before they deliver that ball. And that player has to be able to make a decision. But all of the decisions at the end of the day might be low probability, right? A shot is not going to go in a very high percentage of the time. The pass across might get intercepted. The goalkeeper might make a save, all that kind of stuff, and that's fine. When we get closer to the goal, we want to give those players the freedom to make dangerous decisions in attack. But as we're further away from the goal, the players, again, need to move the ball as quickly as they possibly can into space, and when they're passing, they're trying to find the feet of defenders. Or attackers, sorry. That doesn't mean the pass isn't made into space, right? If you can make one pass through onto a forward who can just go to goal, then that's the pass you should make, right? For those of us who remember the movie Hoosiers, great 1980s basketball movie, kind of old school coach, said you had to make 5 passes before you can shoot the ball. That's not what this is about, right? This is make the most dangerous pass that allows us to create a goal scoring opportunity or keep possession, right? So here, that's going to allow us to take more risk on this part of the field. Maybe play a little more through balls that get intercepted. As we look at the next scenario, we'll look at some situations that, we're trying to just keep the ball as we go forward. So again, very, very important to understand what comes first in the progression of player development and what we're trying to advocate. We don't want to tell a player on the ball to kick it forward up to Susie up top because she's fast and through. We don't want to say pass the ball out wide every single time because maybe the pass in the middle is open, and vice versa. Pass the ball in the middle. Well, maybe that pass isn't open, so we have to find it out wide. So the idea is this indirect style that's played very quick, and the reason it's indirect is because it's not just forward all the time, which is usually what we think of as a direct style. This is a way that gets a lot of players touches, right? The more passes that we make, the more players are going to be involved in the game, the more they have to develop their skill set of making decisions and executing those decisions under pressure. Players enjoy being on the ball and being part of what's going on. They enjoy getting into the attack. These are all things that are going to want to make them hopefully train on their own, come back, and keep playing. So just understand that of what the overall goal is, right? And if we do that well, then we'll create goal scoring opportunities, we'll score some goals, and we'll win some games. But again, that's the outcome that is secondary to the other outcome, which is developing players who want to try and get better and are having fun doing it, and therefore are getting better, and leading to wins after that. But let's not reverse the order of what's important there. All right, so that's our first scenario as we're looking through this. Okay, now we're looking at another attacking scenario in the attacking half of the field. So we showed last time that there was a pass central right away, and now, as we can see from defenders, right, that we've got this clogged up a little bit more. This player here, that player there, this defender in there, all are going to make it kind of difficult to play central. So people have to read that. The player on the ball, right, our central defender on the ball right here needs to be able to see that there's space. This wide left midfielder is now making a run back into space, right? Because it's going to be easier to get the ball there. Now, going back to skill, this player is going to have to recognize that I need to be able to receive the ball and face forward to see my options so that they can see the middle. So we're going to play wide. This defender is more than likely going to travel out here. I mean, if they don't, then the defender can do another, take another touches towards the end line and attack the goal. And then you see from this part 2 area that the pass central now has found the central midfielder. The forward has moved out wide to create some space, but staying on side. This squiggly line there means a dribble. And as they're attacking the central space, these defenders are most likely going to have to try and step over here to deal with that, right? If they don't, then the central midfielder can just go forward and on a breakaway and score a goal. But if we're going to assume that the opponent understands that they have to be compact centrally, well, when we draw them in central, now you might have passes that can either split them onto those runs, or depending, maybe the defenders get in here and they play it to the outside of them. But you have 2 diagonal runs from attacking players, and if you think back to our Venn diagram, right, you had this entire space for the forward, the entire attacking half for the forward, but you also had this wide midfielder who was going to be making runs kind of anywhere right through this general area. So yeah, he's going to be the wide right midfielder, is going to get pretty central to try and get on a run that then might allow him to have a shot on goal or her to have a shot on goal, right? So that's just important to understand as we're looking at that. Okay, so in the first scenario, we played central to then play wide. In this scenario, we're playing wide to then play central and open them up. But again, all of this happens when players move quickly and make decisions quick. So again, that indirect quick play. Indirect quick play. Even if the ball goes out wide, they just play it right back to the central defender. Defenders are going to move, right? Think of the idea of we make passes to move defenders. As we move defenders, it's harder for the defending unit to stay compact like we showed before, and if the defending unit doesn't stay compact, then there's gaps between them and within them in order to break them down and go to goal. And that's what we're trying to do. Right, so move the ball as fast as we can to whoever happens to be open, and everybody on the team, everybody on the attacking side has to move in a way or be ready to move in a way that allows them get into open space to receive a ball, whether running forward, back, right at their feet without moving at all. Those are all the decisions that the players are going to have to read based on where the space is available and where the defenders are, and what their own strengths are as well. So important to understand that. Okay, moving over to the